Part 2.
Alright.
4 seconds, told you.
Okay,
4 seconds
okay,
long,
going
you
back
forgot
into
every
this
word.
love thing, I think, like, let's talk about the love.
Get off my magnets. That's annoying.
Okay, since we're talking about Nolan here, let's talk about the Batman, his relationship with Rachel. That one was more sustainable since when you think about it, they were childhood friends, and in the end, she really did stick by him throughout the end. So that was more believable. This is more so, oh my God, he can fly. I'm instantly in love with him.
No, it's not only the flying thing. It's he saved her
Like what? Total.
like 4 times. Okay.
Two times, and the second time was kind of bullshit anyway.
No, he saved her more than one. Okay, the first time he saved Lois Lane is when they're in the Arctic or whatever she's exploring.
Yeah. The second
He saves her from a robot, then heals her, cauterizes the internal wound. So there's 2 in itself, unless you want to count that as 1.
I count it as 1 anyway.
It's 1 situation, so we'll count that as 1.
The second time was kind of bullshit because when they brought, like, okay, go into this scene, like they say they want him. Okay, they want.
Think it through.
General Zod wants Superman to come to the ship. So once they get him to the ship, then they're like, oh yeah, we also want her to come. For some weird reason, they wanted Lois to come too.
Yeah, I didn't get that part either.
And I know why they did it. The only reason they wanted to do it so they can do the damsel in distress trope, which to me is complete and utter bullshit.
Well, that's how you make. That's part of the movie. Is you always
Yeah,
get damsel
but
in distress for the hero to
they are-
save.
The point, that is not the point. The point is the only reason they did set that up is so they can do the whole damsel in distress thing, and quite frankly, it wasn't needed in this. And I'm not going to go into the whole issue of it being a very sexist act too, but I am going for, if you're going to do the damsel in distress, make it be like a needed situation, like say if Lois was like falling off a building instead of just...
He did save her from the falling.
Yeah, he did that, but...
So they say there's another time.
I know, but you have to realize the only reason they only did the whole ship thing so they can hold you the whole up and down damsel in distress. So that's just me.
I honestly don't know why they called her in there. I'm still trying to figure that out. It was like, oh, and we want Lois.
They say that they read her mind, but it's never shown. Like,
yeah, they said they read his mind too.
And it's like it's not shown.
They didn't show it. So I'm assuming that's going to be in the DVD extras.
Judging by like a scene earlier where like it was only Superman affected by this, it really doesn't work. So
there's some loopholes that they needed to fix. So I just done said the wrong thing. I'm sorry, YouTube.
Oh my gosh, the internet's gonna hate us for this.
Just for the fact, I did like the movie. I thought it was a good movie.
I think it's a good popcorn flick, so...
Okay, there's our opinions on the movie. Sorry you had to wait till level 2 to get this. But you got it.
Well, they already got mine anyway, so...
Well, yeah, you had to wait till level 2 to get mine, so haha! Got you, YouTube. Way to watch both of ours, thank you.
Other than that, there's some... I think the action scenes were... Though cool looking at times, most of them there really was no point to it. They were kind of doing that Michael Bay sort of thing where it was just...
No, it wasn't a Michael Bay thing. It was more along the lines of a kung fu flick almost, where you got fist-to-fist, hand-to-hand combat. Yeah. I mean, that's the only way it would really go down between Zod and Superman, but...
And it's not just Zod
other than
Superman.
A couple powers that they did release in the end, but...
You can clearly tell Zack Snyder is an action movie guy just from this. If you don't know, he's...
yeah.
Huh. But, it's... The action scenes, they just sort of just dragged out.
There was a couple where I thought they could have shortened it by a minute or two.
Like, and some of them were cool, like when he was fighting Zod and like he was like just levitating there. I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
But other times it just kind of dragged out.
It, and I don't want to make the reference between the two, but it had moments of Transformers into it where
Yeah.
they like that part did not need to be put in this movie because well you know they're going to fight, but really you're going to introduce it this certain way.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought about certain fight scenes of Transformers is yeah, you know this is about to happen. It's already established. Why are you going to reestablish it
It's
by introducing this little incident? It's not needed.
It's sort of like Silver Age comics where like they for some weird reason they have to tell you what's going on even though clearly if you look at the panel you know what's happening.
It's like I just glove slapped you. Now here's my glove.
I know. I don't really agree. Again, going back to the death scene of General Zod, where he's like doing the whole beam thing, it sort of reminded.
That was not needed.
Yeah, and it sort of reminds me of that scene in Austin Powers where he stole the steamroller, and the guy's just yelling "Stop!" and like they're like, you can't see me, but. They're like from this wall to this wall. You obviously can't see it. They could have just dodged it or like moved around, but no,
right.
They're just gonna sit there. It's like, okay, if you can't even dodge this, then you probably do deserve to die.
That's called natural selection.
Oh gosh, and quite frankly, what's the whole point considering he just about destroyed Metropolis and Smallville? And he only saved, like, what, a few people? And now he's worried about it?
Right.
It's like, you killed millions before. Why is this couple different?
Because I think it has to do with the line that Zod said is, oh, you adopted this race, now mourn them.
Yeah.
So I can see that why that clicked in Superman's head. I was like, oh, wait, I did adopt this race. This would be my fault. I got to save this group of people as well.
True. And what makes it worse is like you think like normally with a good Superman story that involved death, his action would have repercussions.
Repercussions.
Yeah.
That word. Ha.
Like let's take for example Injustice when he killed the Joker. Obviously the reproduction was obviously giving them a second chance is not working, so why not just kill them?
Right.
With this, though, it's like, oh, it's gonna be something huge. He even screams at the end, nope, nothing happened. And before you go into say, oh, they're gonna do in the sequel, like, why the sequel? Do it now. Oh.
I think it was a time thing at that point.
And another thing, what I can't stand about this movie, everything, like, conveniently just, like, stops. Like, everything was resolved conveniently, if that makes any sense.
Well, that's because he killed General Zod, who was making everything happen to begin with.
Yeah.
And the only reason everything started happening with Earth is because of General Zod. They established that in the beginning of the movie when the first appearance of Zod comes in and he shoots Kal-El or something like that. It's like, not Kal-El, Jor-El. My bad. I'm sorry, YouTube. I know my people. I swear. When he shoots Jor-El, and he goes, I will save this race, or says something, and so that's what it was, is he killed the main reason the invasion happened in the first place. So yeah, everything would stop. Until part 2, which I'm assuming will happen. When part 2 comes along and a new baddie is introduced.
And it kind of bugs me because I want to see what's going to be the precautions now. Like, obviously you can tell the way they set up I can't think of his mother's name. Anyway, the way they set her up is that she was the loving mother.
Martha?
Yeah.
Or Laurel?
No, I'm talking about Martha Kent.
Yeah, okay, Martha.
Martha Kent, she was the loving mother. So obviously she's gonna if something bad happened, he can unwind to her. But no, it doesn't really happen. It just kind of pisses me off.
There was some memorable moments where you have to look at it and go, it's true to the comics, It may not fit the movie completely, but it's at least true to the comics.
And so ends part 3. 2.
Part 2. We got more to talk about, so part 3 in 4 seconds.